to another segment of Pieces of the Past Resumed in honor of Jim Reis, researcher, author, and friend. Today we are looking at the life of Frank George Midge Guerrea, one of the finest professional boxers to come out of Newport. Research for this story was done by Richard McCormick. Frank was born in Newport in 1907 to Joseph and Catherine Guerrea, who were immigrants from Italy. After a short stay in Ohio, they had settled in Newport, where Frank's dad, Joseph, worked for the Andrews Steel Mill. Tragedy struck the family in 1911 when Frank's brother William, who was 14 at the time, was working for the Donaldson Lithographing Company in Newport. He was using a press machine when a paper jam happened. When he attempted to resolve it, his hand and arm were drawn into the cylinder, badly mashing the limb. Police came and William was taken to Spears Hospital, but the arm was so badly mashed that amputation was necessary. William sued for $25,000, stating that he had been assigned to work on a dangerous machine without proper instructions. He was awarded $3,000, which the Post called the price of an arm. Tragedy struck again when Frank was 9 years old and his father died in an accident while working at the steel mill. He got caught between two cars and crushed. This left Frank's mother with 8 children to raise without a father. This alone could have spelled disaster for a young man such as Frank without the guiding hand of a father. Frank had come of age when boxing was a popular topic in local sports pages. It certainly grabbed his attention as he stepped into the ring and made it an early career choice. His first known fight was in 1922. He became very well known throughout Kentucky and the country and was very popular. Tragedy again struck the Guerrea family in 1922 when Frank's sister Anna was involved in a self-defense shooting of a boyfriend, Ralph Aceto, who had begun stalking her. He had threatened her on several occasions and finally one day pulled a gun on her, demanding that she marry him. When they returned her home, she got a gun from her room and shot him. A jury declared self-defense. On June 28, 1925, Anna was killed in an auto accident on the Dixie Highway near Walton, and 5 companions were hurt when the auto on which they were riding plunged 40 feet off a bridge on the Dixie Highway near Walton, Kentucky. She was pinned beneath the auto on railroad tracks. In 1926, Frank fought Andy Chaney in Cincinnati's Music Hall boxing arena. He wanted a nationwide reputation that gave the Newport boy something to brag about, and he did indeed defeat Chaney. In this same year, he married Abel Adele Finn. During his fighting years, and something he maintained even after leaving the ring, was seeing others in need. Charity was as much a passion for him as was boxing. In May 1926, he appeared on a fight card to raise money for the Citizens Military Training Camp. In December 1926, he fought in a boxing show, the proceeds of which went to the Fund for Crippled Children. This program raised $800. The number of charity fights, referees, and campaigning for is too numerous to mention here, but most are listed in Richard's articles. Boxing was so much in Frank's blood that even after retiring from the ring in 1930, he could not leave it alone. He began a career of teaching and training young boxers in the Catholic schools as well as area high schools. He refereed many boxing matches among young people in northern Kentucky. In 1935, he was chair of a festival for St. Vincent de Paul, having, among other things, boxing. In October 1940, Frank entered politics, announcing his candidacy for the Newport School Board. He won a 4-year term with strong support from former classmates and parents. He also continued to referee charity events, showing his commitment to the community in which he grew up, as well as take care of his aging mother. Then the unthinkable happened. Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese December 7, 1941. 11 months later, Frank enlisted and reported for duty at Norfolk, Virginia, as a Navy boxing instructor. After serving for 3 years, he returned to Newport to begin another phase of his political career. His mother, Catherine, died in 1944 while he was serving his country. Commodore Gene Tunney wrote a letter to Frank when he received his appointment as a petty officer first class and told him, quote, "The Navy has launched upon a serious physical fitness program for the purpose of conditioning 1,000,000 fighting men whose duty it is to uphold the honor of our country and keep the flag flying on the 7 seas," end quote. Frank was more than qualified for such a position. After finishing his Navy service, Frank returned to Newport and threw his hat into the ring for city commissioner. One of his issues was flood prevention on the heels of the devastating 1937 flood and before the flood wall was even a dream. However, he failed to win this seat. Frank returned to politics in 1947, again running for city commissioner. He proposed a rifle range on the property that the disabled American veterans had acquired to be turned into a park for disabled veterans. This campaign was successful as he won a 2-year term, where he served as Newport's vice mayor. He also continued his community work, refereeing high school boxing matches. In February 1947, Frank sponsored a boxing match to raise funds for the students. He also raised funds for Newport veterans, equipment for activities of teenagers, served as chair of the Newport Lions boxing show to benefit the blind and the needy, raised hospital funds, and in 1949 he sponsored a knot-hole baseball team, Midge's Sluggers. In early 1953, Frank entered the business world, opening the Midge Guerrea Tavern on 5th Street in Dayton. Unfortunately, the business only lasted until 1957. After selling insurance for years, he became a real estate manager. Another story in Frank's family is that of Anthony Tony Guerrea. Tony ran a gambling place in Newport throughout the 1950s. He was arrested several times, fined, but returned to business as usual. He did not serve any jail time and died in 1957. In December 1964, Newport Mayor John Peluso appointed Frank to a 4-year term in a non-paying position on the Newport Housing Authority. When the Grand Towers apartment was under construction, Frank insisted that the electrical outlets should be waist high because older people had trouble bending over, end quote. He ended up serving 16 years on the Housing Authority. Frank took his final 10 count on November 6, 1992, at age 85. Services were held at St. Vincent de Paul Church, and he was buried alongside his wife, Mabel, in Evergreen Cemetery. A Newport native and the son of Italian immigrants, Frank Midge Guerrea lived a full, long life, battling opponents in and out of the ring and assisting people throughout Campbell County. Frank said this about himself: "If I own a buck today, I owe it to the sport of boxing. Boxing was a stepping stone which rocketed me into life." Be sure to visit the Campbell County Genealogical Society in Alexandria to learn more about our wonderful Campbell County neighbors. Again, a special thanks to Richard McCormick for his research on Midge Guerrea and his life.